Welcome. And the question today from Just a 76 Girl is: Martin Luther King Jr. said, "If you can't fly then run, if you can't run then walk, if you can't walk then crawl, but whatever you do, you have to keep moving forward." What are your life examples of this? Hi, this is Derek. I just put the Drama Llama, Fred, back in his llama pen, so that I can do this quick video for you with some of the stuff that Fred found on Reddit earlier today. If this is your first time watching our videos, help me out by watching to the end, and then giving me some feedback in the comment area below. I do respond to every single one, so don't be shy. And if you want more of these videos daily, don't forget to like and subscribe, with notifications turned on for this channel. Oh boy, let's get ready for some drama. M. Sailors answered with: "After my mom died, I set a single goal to do something productive each day. For a while, it was getting out of bed. Then it was brushing my hair. Then it was cooking something to eat. As each little thing graduated from my thing for the day to just habit, I would add a new thing. It took a while to be functional again. It really did feel like I was crawling when everyone else was running." This is a real tactic and works well. I always tell myself I have to do 2 things every day. Depending on the day, it could be just getting out of bed and feeding myself. On better days, it's getting some work done and doing dishes. Just committing to 2 things sounds simple, so it helps keep me to it. And sorry about your mom, I hope you're doing okay and continuing to graduate and doing the things. Ace Kitty answered with: "Exercise. A couple of months ago I was crawling, now I'm walking. Doubt I'll ever be flying, but at least I'm stronger than I was." This is going to sound stupid to most who haven't been through it. But my ex-husband of 17 years cheated on me with my best friend. It's all so cliche. We had 2 preteen boys that he didn't want anything to do with. Somehow I kicked him out of the house, didn't accept his fake apologies, and then watched my run turn into a walk, then a crawl. I dragged us through every day. It happened the last 2 weeks of school, and I still went to their end of the year award programs, and smiled. Even though neighbors were whispering, and I hosted birthday parties, minus a parent, and I taught one to drive. I am not completely sure how I was strong enough, but I brought us all forward in those dark days. I wasn't going to let this affect them. And now, even with their dad living 3 miles away with his new family, and acting like they don't exist, I crawl, with them on my back. Suave Cool 2169 answered with: "My wife died June 2015. I lost my job the same moment she passed. Because I was her in-home caretaker for 3 years, because she was in a persistent vegetative state. I got addicted to methamphetamines again after 22 years of sobriety. My service dog of 10 years died. I survived an attempted murder from 2 people with rebar, and wound up with brain damage and a broken neck. I got evicted because I couldn't afford any more to live in our town home. I walked away from 30 years of memories because I had nowhere to store anything. I spent 2.5 years homeless, living on the streets and in shelters, and the majority of everything that happened to me, happened in 6 months. I finally got on Social Security for schizoaffective disorder, that I got from using drugs after my wife died. And I finally got a home again back in September. The point is I got through it all because I kept moving forward." Toothbrush Messiah answered with: "My career. I feel like I'm flying now. But holy smokes, did I start off as a slow crawl though. Edit. I work at an IT company for everyone asking." Tiny Little Planet answered with: "This is extremely minor, but I completed a 5K. I'm not a runner. In fact, I hate running. I have short legs and small feet. I'm slow and overweight. I did train, albeit not much. I started the race by running until I was out of breath, half mile in. Then it was intermittent walking and running until the end. I was the second to last person to finish, but I didn't care. It was one of the best highs I've ever had. It felt good to accomplish something I always told myself I would do someday, but never worked up the courage to try. I was proud of myself." Shy No Beyond Boo answered with: "When I was 22, I lost my leg due to a suicide attempt, and becoming an amputee as a result of my own stupid actions was extremely difficult. But I decided I was going to keep living, and really see what I could do with the time and resources I have. I always thought I was too stupid and ugly to do anything with my life, but once, there wasn't much left to lose. I got my crap together, stopped being a victim, and now I'm 25 going to school. Clean and sober, no friends or girlfriend, or family really. But I'm content being alone with my thoughts, and I think my prosthetic looks pretty badass. BitPoet answered with, I rode my bike across the US. Most of it solo. In the middle of Missouri, I just had enough. I stopped on some guy's lawn and just cried. He came out and asked me what was up, and I explained how far I'd come, started in San Francisco, and that I was just done. He told me to ride into town, I think Springfield? Which was only 10 miles away, and take a few days off and rest. Which is what I did, because hey, one more day wouldn't matter, and the worst that would happen is that I'd pack it in and go home. Well, a day of rest seemed to be exactly what I needed. I spent a whole day, or most of it, anyway, in blessed air conditioning, ate all the food, drank all the water, and was more or less ready to go again. I took a few more one-day breaks between Missouri and Williamsburg, Virginia, which really helped me out. So yeah, 1 step back, 2 steps forward. Shri Bar 23 answered with, living to be honest. My parents never believed, and still don't, that depression is a real thing. So they never got me help when I was younger. I'm 30 now and still crawling on. Vash answered with, drawing. After losing everything I ever drew in my life due to a crappy moving company, I was devastated, and didn't draw for a few years. Eventually got a whiteboard and said, I'll just do a stupid little doodle once a week. Then it became once a day. They got more elaborate. Then 5 days ago I picked up a sketchbook and pencil for the first time in years and said, just 10 minutes. A couple of days a week. I've ended up getting lost in it for a couple of hours already, and I can't describe the feeling of joy when I looked at the completed outline and thought, holy crap, it actually looks like the thing I'm drawing. I have barely begun shading. But I'm so excited to continue it tomorrow. Tenehemia answered with, I was deep in depression for most of a year. No job, no friends, heartbroken. I had a roof over my head thanks to my parents, but nothing else besides. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my life and no resources to pursue it if I did. Something like finishing college, or traveling the world, or pursuing my artistic dreams, or having a loving relationship, was completely beyond my grasp. But one day, I messaged an acquaintance. Actually, an ex-girlfriend of a guy I knew. And I asked if she wanted to hang out. Eventually that became a relationship, we got married, I started publishing books, we lived in Europe for a while, etc. None of that was possible from the place I started in. But I dug myself out one small victory at a time. Life keeps changing. I'm divorced but in a much healthier and happier relationship, living far from where I'd ever been. I found another fulfilling career and lots of good friends. And I'll never fall into the place I was again because I have memories of my own success. Once you can recall confidence, you can always use that as the first step to anything else. Milksteak Jelly Bean answered with, couldn't become a vet, realized too late into my career that this was the career I wanted. And instead, I adopted a ton of cats, volunteered at the zoo, and have recently applied to be a foster cat mom. Animals really give me joy. Someone answered with, my life was completely devastated by sexual violence in my teens. It took a while for it to sink in and for the effects to kick in. I had to drop out of university after nearly 3 years, completely depressed, and I gained a ton of weight on medication. I literally went from being a conventionally attractive girl, to someone who was very, very overweight, although still in my opinion quite beautiful. I dropped out of university. I had a boyfriend but most of my friends disappeared. I had a breakdown and spent a night in a psych ward. I did everything I could to help myself after that. I got books on the internet that I knew could help me. I went to see a therapist. Twice a week, I got 2 buses and walked a long way to see the same therapist. I was huge from the meds and felt like such a failure, but I just kept on going. I got a part-time job which really helped me with my emotion regulation. I saved up money to go and see my boyfriend. During the year, I applied for new courses at university. However, in the ultimate act of humility, I ended up going to continue the same degree at a much lower class university. I still had a good time. There were people who didn't think much of me. I was overweight and still quite emotionally unstable. I was having symptoms from the trauma that affected me in a really bad public way. But I knew I was going somewhere. I kept my head down and ran. Through all the humiliation and some bullying, I did my degree, even though my concentration was so bad from the trauma, that I had to work all night, every night, and had no social life whatsoever. I went to more therapy. And when it went south, I went to more. I finished that degree seemingly unable to live alone. However, I found the subject I was truly passionate about, and this motivated me to persevere. Instead of moving in back home, I proceeded to do 2 master's degrees. And by the way, I continued to have many public and humiliating symptoms. And I nearly got kicked out of uni a couple of times cause they didn't like it, and refused to understand, but I kept on going. 5 years after dropping out, I have 2 MSCs. I just landed my first job after 132 applications. I continued to attend therapy throughout the 2 masters and I am doing much better. I am still a bit curvy, but really, there are worse things in life, and it's kind of adorable. Edit. Getting over sexual trauma is one of the hardest things you can ever do. Especially if it happened to you as a child. To have overcome this, while persevering with my studies to such a high degree, is to me to have continued moving forward. SKRT Vonnegut answered with, overcoming sex addiction. It caused the end of my relationship and all I can do is keep pushing forward. If I stop the momentum, I will be stuck at square one in the pit of despair. I will do better every day from here on. Well, there you have it. A perfectly great question answered by a bunch of fine and honorable citizens. Help support this channel by smashing the like and subscribe buttons. And hit that silly little bell as well to ensure you get the latest videos as they come out. Fred is always finding stuff for me to post regularly. So this is Derek signing off. Thanks for watching. Good grief, it sounds like Fred is out of his pen again. I think he found more drama for me to share with you. See you soon.